Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Cardos here, and today we're going to practice factoring expressions using the greatest common factor. GCF stands for greatest common factor. So grab your paper, grab your pencil, grab your notes, and then come on back. You might want a multiplication chart, you might want a calculator, if you're allowed to use those on your assignment. So our learning target for today is that we'll be able to factor expressions using the greatest common factor, and we're going to show that by completing several practice problems. So some of the important things we need to remember when we are factoring is that factoring is the inverse of the distributive property. The inverse, the opposite of the distributive property. So when we do the distributive property, we're multiplying. So when we factor, we are actually going to divide, okay? So we'll be doing lots of division today, which is why I said you might want to have your multiplication chart there in front of you. So when we are factoring, let's say they give me this problem that looks like 6x plus 9, and they tell me they want me to factor it, okay? So I know factor means I need to divide. So I'm going to use my multiplication chart, and I'm going to find a row that has both a 6 and a 9. Now, sometimes there's more than one row that has a 6 and a 9, so I'm going to want the row that is the largest. So for instance, 6 and 9 is in the 1 row, and it's also in the 3 row. So I'm going to use the 3 row as my GCF. My greatest common factor is going to be 3. And remember, when you're dividing, if I'm trying to divide 6 divided by 3, that is going to be 2. My answers are basically just going to be right here at the top, okay? So step 1, we have found our greatest common factor. It's going to be 3. So step 2 is now we're going to divide both of our terms by the GCF. So we said, let me just highlight them one more time. We said it was row 3. Okay. So the 3 is my greatest common factor. It goes outside the parentheses, and it's what I'm going to divide both of these terms by. So that would give me 2x plus 3. And remember, you can always check to see if you have it right by going in reverse and multiplying. 3 times 2 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9, so I know I did this problem correctly. This is my answer, okay? Nothing too difficult. All right, if I were you, I would pause the video. I would try this problem on my own and see if you could do it, and then come back to the video to check your answer to see if you have it correct. So I'm looking for a row on my multiplication chart that has both a 20 and a 15. So when I zoom in here, I can see that I have a 20 and a 15 right here in row 5. So that's going to be my greatest common factor is going to be 5. So 5 is what I'm going to divide both of these terms by. And it's going to be what I write outside of the parentheses. So when I divide 20 divided by 5, I get 4m, and this one must subtract, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now, if there were negatives in my problem, I would have to be a little bit more careful, but I don't really have any negatives, so this one's fairly straightforward. And you can always check by multiplying it back out. 5 times 4 is 20, and 5 times 3 is 15, so I know I did do it correctly. Next problem, pause the video, take a moment, try it on your own, and then come back to the video to check your answer. Now, for 12 and 18, I have multiple rows that have a 12 and an 18. So there's right here in row 2, row 3, and row 6 all have a 12 and an 18. But remember, we're looking for the greatest common factor, which would be 6. 2 and 3 are also common factors. They're just not the greatest. So we're going to stick with 6. And we are going to divide both terms by 6. That's the number that goes outside my parentheses. 12 divided by 6 is 2, so 2g. 18 divided by 6 is 3, so plus 3. Easy peasy. All right, our last problem. Now this one has 3 terms, but you're going to do it the exact same way. You're going to look for a row that has a 22, a 33, and a 77. So take a minute, pause the video, see if you can do this one on your own. And once you think you have an answer, turn the video back on and check your work. Okay, so as I'm zooming in here, I can see that the row that has all 3 of those terms is row 11. So 11 is the greatest common factor of all 3 of these terms. So I'm going to divide all 3 of them. Oops, sorry about that. I'm going to divide them all 3 by 11. I'm going to pay attention to my plus signs and my minus signs, but 11 goes outside since it's the greatest common factor. 22 divided by 11 is 2, so 2j, plus 33 divided by 11 is 3, so plus 3k, and then I have a minus sign. 77 divided by 11 is 7. So there's my answer. All right, and that's all there is to factoring. So we did complete our learning target for today. We learned how to factor expressions using the greatest common factor. So I hope this helped, and I'll see you next time in the next video. Bye.